Hi, I'm Eric Lanask. We're here in Santa Clara at our Editor's Day. And on the program with me now from Boomerang Commerce is Guru Hariharan. Guru, thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Great to have you here. So I know that Boomerang focuses entirely on the retail space. Let's talk a little bit about some of the changes that you're seeing in the retail industry.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting phenomenon that's happening. So retail is a $23 trillion economy. It's about a fourth of the world GDP. Right?
Wow.
It's a massive market. And not many people realize that there's a big transition that's happening in this industry. It's moving from a traditional brick and mortar world to something that's more internet driven, what we call internet retail.
Sure.
And that's essentially creating a big bloodbath in this industry, where there's companies, the old stalwart companies are giving way to modern retailers such as Amazon and so on. Mm-hmm. And it's really sort of driving this change is essentially being driven by some very core fundamental changes the way that retailers operate. One of them being big data. Mm-hmm. That companies like Amazon, where in fact I used to work at for about 6 years, they use data as a religion to really drive decisions on a very granular basis. To just give you a sort of a example in terms of what the difference is, Amazon has about 350 million products in their catalog, and they're making pricing and inventory and product decisions every 2 to 15 minutes. Just think about that.
Wow.
Versus a traditional retailer who has, say, 10,000 or 100,000 products, and they're making decisions for pricing and assortment, say, once a month or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that sort of created this huge divide in the way that retailers are operating. And that's what is causing this entire upheaval in the industry. And Boomerang's essentially powering and helping retailers to survive and succeed in this modern age of retail.
Explain what you mean by that. Boomerang is powering that.
So we work with some of the largest retailers in this world, such as Staples and Office Depot and US Auto Parts and so on. And we're helping them make pricing decisions, helping them make selection decisions. What product should I carry? How should I price these products? And so on and so forth. So those are the types of decisions which are being made in a much more granular level, using data science, using a lot of test and learn and hypothesis-driven testing and so on, using modern techniques such as game theory and machine learning algorithms to help them derive the right price at a particular item and give their customers a great customer experience.
So you're providing the analytics behind it?
We provide the analytics. We also have built a software as a service, a SaaS platform, which essentially helps them put the rules and strategies and essentially drive their pricing changes on their website, in their stores, and so on and so forth. So it actually makes the decisions and pushes the decisions to their properties.
So here's an interesting question for you, I think. See, you're right. You've got the Amazons and such popping up in pretty much pure online environments, but you've got a number of retailers that have both brick and mortar as well as online facilities.
Yes.
How does what you're doing play across those two?
So it's actually a very interesting question. So in fact, one of the statistics that people don't realize is that about 80% of retail that happens online is being driven by brick and mortar retailers, which are companies like Staples and Office Depot and Sears and Home Depot, Target. These guys are driving 80% of retail online, which is very ironical if you just think about that, right?
Sure.
It's very interesting. So it's actually very important in some sense that these retailers actually have a bigger challenge than a company like Amazon, because they have to sort of think about how to coordinate, how to think about differentiated prices, how to think about differentiated products. Can I offer these products only online? How about if I offer these different price online versus in my brick and mortar store? So that's a coordination question, and oftentimes we help our customers, that is these retailers, think through this and potentially even run some strategies or run some tests to see what is the right strategy for them to take. So if it's a company like, say, Williams-Sonoma, Pottery Barn, they have made a decision to be exactly the same price online and offline. Mm-hmm. Whereas a company like Walmart or Staples, for instance, they've made decisions. They made a decision to be potentially different priced. So you can actually buy a product which is different in the store versus online. Fundamentally, it comes down to the customer experience. If you're a customer and walking into the store, what is the expectation that you have? If you're walking into a Walmart, your expectation is that I'm going to find low prices. And hence, it's important for them to be dynamic and at the expense of being different priced, they need to be low priced on a property like online where they can afford to change prices more often than their store. Whereas if you walk into a Nordstrom or a Williams-Sonoma, your expectation is not being low priced. It's more about experience. It's more about sort of having the same product at the same price and so on. So you end up sort of having a common price experience across channels for these retailers.
When you mentioned that a lot of the online shopping is being actually driven by the brick and mortar, does that mean that they are driving their own sales online, or are the brick and mortar visitors buying elsewhere?
So your question is whether they have the same customers, they're staying with the brands. We are seeing a lot of that, which is if I'm a office supplies admin, for instance, I'm buying for paper and printer supplies for my office, and I used to go to Staples stores, we are seeing some of the same customers essentially coming to online. But there's also newer customers. If I want to buy a new, if I'm a customer, I want to buy paper. I'm not an office admin. Then you have the choice to essentially go to an Amazon.com or a Staples or an Office Depot, and your decision point is essentially Google, or your decision point could be just look an internet search that might essentially bring that up. So we're seeing a mix of both. At the end of the day, the online shopper, you'd have a traditional loyal customer base, whereas there's also newer customers who are coming in, who are essentially, and who the retailers are competing for in this modern day and age.
Who are the retailers actually competing with? So is an Office Depot competing with a Staples, or is it competing with an Amazon? Same thing for Home Depot. Is the real competitor Lowe's, or is it Amazon?
So actually, that's a very good question. In fact, I don't think retailers have completely figured the answer to that question yet. And in fact, this answer to this question changes year on year, as you would imagine. As and when companies like Amazon became more and more dominant, a lot of the categories were important for these traditional retailers to start focusing on Amazon versus their traditional competitor, for that matter. So that's one of the things which we help our customers, or that is these retailers, figure out category by category, product by product, who are you competing with? And not only that, what is your price premium or discount against those competitors? For instance, if you are, say, Staples, we're figuring out do you compete with an Office Depot, or do you compete with Amazon? And what is your price premium or discount against these retailers? Mm-hmm. We're also looking at how are these competitors reacting to you? Are they matching what you're doing? In which case, are you a price setter or a price follower? And that ends up being a very important question, especially in a oligopoly environment like what retail is. Like at the end of the day, there are 4 or 5 retailers who capture 85-90% of the office supplies market. Mm-hmm. There are 4 or 5 retailers who capture and operate the home improvement market. Mm-hmm. So in an oligopoly environment like that, it's pretty critical to understand the dynamics and your competitors' moves so that you can essentially make the first right move and win the market.
Got it. Excellent. Well, Guru, thank you very much for joining us here. Certainly some exciting things going on, and it sounds like you have your hands full.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you.